What movie scared it out of you as a kid? Gremlins. Blender. Nuff said. It. Do 2-part TV shows count? E.T. I love it now, but as a kid it scared me. Child's Play. To this day I still get freaked out by dolls. Poltergeist. That and Edward Scissorhands when he came as the lad and had his hand scissors snipping just made me so scared. The first time I saw Alien and the Xenomorph burst out of Kane's chest, I was never, ever anticipatory of something like that. Now, one my top 10 fave films. Signs. Convinced my mom to let me watch it when I was 7 because I thought aliens were cool. The scene where they're watching the news report and an alien jumps out from behind a bush scared the living it out of me. I had nightmares about that movie for years. Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Raiders of the Lost Ark. Melty face scene. The Large Marge part of that Pee-wee movie. Coraline when I was 12. I think I had at least 3 nightmares about it. Return to Oz. There was a general creepiness. The Asylum. The Wheelers and then Bombi. The Ring. My cousin used to get me to watch it whenever I went to his house. The scene with the girl coming out of the TV still haunts my memories. I had a feeling he probably didn't want me over there too often. Jeepers Creepers scared me so much. I slept in my mom's bed for weeks. I saw something a few months ago that was saying that it was based off of a true story from Michigan. I live in Michigan. From the 80s. Still scares it out of me. Fire in the Sky for me. Still won't watch it. The Dark Crystal. Had nightmares about Aura's Eye. The Brave Little Toaster. I never wished to see a toaster alive. The Nightmare on Elm Street series. I can sit and laugh at them today. But those movies ducked up my sleepy time when I was a kid. Beetlejuice has that one scene where Otho summons Adam and Barbara, but they begin to decay and die. The first time I saw that movie, I was up late, at my grandparents'. It was dark, and that scene was terrifying to me. The combination of the music and the visuals of 2 people crumbling away was intense. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. To this day, I still sweat when Aragog, the giant spider, shows up. There was just something about that soulless, monstrous face that still lurks the duck out of me. I remember not even being able to bathe because I was scared Aragog would get me while showering. This summer, I watched that scene for the first time in 11 years and I still got really nervous. Fun fact, Aragog is voiced by Julian Glover, also famous for portraying Mr. Pissell in Game of Thrones, General Maximilian Veers in Empire Strikes Back and Donovan in The Last Crusade. The Methodica was part of the Lannister troop, was part of the Galactic Empire, was a Nazi and a terrifying spider monster. I'd keep my distance from him. I've got 1 movie and 2 TV episodes that scared the it out of me. The kidnapper guy with the jail on wheels and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang freaked me out, and because of that guy, I learned how to fast forward movies. Are You Afraid of the Dark had some episode with a dollhouse in this newly moved in family's attic. The dollhouse was identical to their abandoned neighbor's house. When they went to explore the house, they would turn into porcelain dolls. Really creepy. I read every Goosebumps book as a kid, but nothing scared me more than the TV interpretation of Stay Out of the Basement. In short, their dad, the whole episode ended up being a plant in a dad suit, and the plant was revealed with vines coming out of his skin. Too spooky for me. Watership Down. Jaws. I couldn't go in the water for years. Ernest Scared Stupid. The trolls freaked me out. War of the Worlds. The noise the alien war machines made scared the living it out of me. The Neverending Story. The nothing was terrifying, and when Artax gave into the sadness, I bawled. Labyrinth with David Bowie. Mainly those weird orange things that would remove their heads and throw them around. Pet Sematary. I was 7 when my parents watched it in the living room, and I cowered behind the coffee table the entire time. I couldn't even watch it as an adult until about 5 years ago. Return to Oz was ducking terrifying. The Thriller music video used to make me cry and scream. The Grudge. Saw it when I was 8. Haven't ever watched it again since then. I watched The Shining in a dark basement when I was around 7. Still scarred. Tremors. I couldn't let my feet touch the end of the bed for years because of that scene in the tractor where its tongue was feeling around. Amityville Horror. My parents took me to this when I was 4 years old. WTF parents. I asked them if we could leave because, shocker, I was terrified. Arachnophobia. That popcorn scene with the spiders coming out of the old people's nose. I was probably 8 and had a small 10 inches black and white TV with an antenna in my bedroom and wasn't supposed to be up watching TV that late. I went and hid in the hallway until it was over. Chicken Run. Still kind of does. It had to be the stakes and that climax. Dear God. Candyman. Rewatched it a few years ago and it isn't scary now. And looks very dated. Congo. Those white gorillas at the end scared the shit out of me as a kid for a long time. The eels and huge rats in The Princess Bride. But nowadays the rats come off as comical. So obvious a person was in that thing. Muppets Take Manhattan. I was so scared Kermit wouldn't find his friends we had to leave the theater because I was crying. I was 3. Twister. I grew up in a place with lots of tornadoes and thought a tornado would come out of nowhere to tear my house apart. These days I want to be a tornado chaser lol. The Ring, but for the weirdest reason. I got scared when the horse jumped off the boat and died, so I never wanted to watch it ever again and I was scared shitless. You think I'd be scared of the demon's child, but no. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Shiver. House on Haunted Hill. Couldn't sleep for weeks. Salem's Lot. Also the same movie that started my Stephen King book obsession. Apparently I enjoy being frightened. That Disney Channel movie, Smart House, when the robot manifested as a woman and got all angry. I had nightmares for months. Omen, the original one. I remember checking whether I had the numbers somewhere on my body. Those 3 6s freak me out to this day. I once wanted to watch a movie with my father in his room when I was 5. The movie was Ridley Scott's Alien. I didn't watch movies with my father after that. Titanic. It was my first movie theater experience of 6. Death and violence. All those loud noises and watching people die really hit me hard. I didn't know what the movie was about until a second watching years later, as the first time had me so traumatized. Large Marge from Pee Wee Herman. The birds. I think this is why I'm slightly terrified of birds. Exorcist. My god. I was terrified for weeks and slept with my parents. Darkness Falls. Duck that it. It's the reason why I've never watched a scary movie. The original Poltergeist. Yes, I'm old. I have no idea why I was allowed to watch this when I was like 6 years old, but that it had me freaking out. The Little Shop of Horrors. I had a phobia of plants for a long time. I was scared to sit on the couch in case vines would somehow grow out of it and get me. I'm no longer scared of plants, but they still gross me out. I watched Pet Sematary at a middle school sleepover. Had never watched a horror movie before. The sister with spina bifida scared the crap out of me. The next night my mom was working late and I was home alone. I was so scared that I called a friend's mom to come and get me. Chucky movies. I hated dolls so much growing up. I'm still really unsettled by them sometimes. As a child I was petrified of ET to the extent my mother had to turn it off when I was in the room. I don't even know what I disliked about that alien. I have always been uncomfortable with the concept of aliens. There was something about the way it looked and those long fingers that creeped me out. As a result I've never seen the film all the way through, mainly because although I'm no longer frightened of it, but I still find that alien puppet creepy and just wrong, though now I'm less able to put my finger on why.